had a chance to look at the minutes. Is there any notations or corrections? Do I have a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Knoll, we accept the minutes as presented.
I second that, Mr. President.
Second by Mr. Girardi, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I'd like to show of hands for the aye. Opposed? Okay.
I'm opposed.
You're opposed?
Yep.
Motion's carried. Now, financial treasury report, you can find that in your book. If you have any questions or not, treasury report.
Well, I went over the bills this week or last week, and I make a motion that we pay the bills as presented.
Bills, motion made by Mr. McNall, we pay the bills as presented. Any question? Second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Sopik, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, you'll notice on that report, we have nothing left out of our general obligation loan. $150,000 is spent
That was the one that was
in November. The tax anticipation loan, we've only got $150,000 out of that $200,000. Okay? So everybody knows that.
If you want to speak, you have to sign it.
No.
Right now, we're going to open the bids for used equipment, grader, backhoe, and street sweeper.
You want to pass these out? Maybe everybody wants to take information.
Guys, want to pass them
You get a
around?
question, Dave?
I think 3 or 4, I have 5, I guess.
Okay, you ready? The first bid I have here is a bid. Oh, Mr. Senior, you want to take these two? Mr. Senior. On the 480 backhoe,
Jim 3.
Jim Wischuk. Bid 5001. 5001.
What was his last name?
Where's Chuck?
Jim Wischuk.
W-I-S-E-C-H-U-C-K.
Wischuk. Wischuk. This is the Curwensville Borough. I would like to place a bid of $1,650 on the Galleon road grader.
From who?
$1,600.
Who's it from?
Oh, well, wait a minute, there's still something
Oh,
else.
okay.
Also, a bid of $300 for the street sweeper. And this is from Dawn Odell. This bid is from Hazelton Equipment Company. A bid is being offered on the 1994 480 case
Well, you put the too late.
in the amount of $8,000 $992.
How much again?
89.92.
1994.
What was the item?
Backhoe.
That's more like it.
This is on the backhoe. It's on the front. My bid for the case backhoe is $3,802.05. Bob McClure.
How much?
3,802.05.
This is for the street sweeper. The bid is $1,505.05, and it is from Bob McClure. This is from Knox Township Road District. Bid for the backhoe, $8,200. This bid is from Curwensville Feed Store. A bid to purchase the 1994 case backhoe in the amount of $11,501.
Wow. They want to put that evidently. Obviously. That's a sweet bid.
They probably want a full tank of fuel.
This is a bid on the grader for $1,262, and it's from Wallace Auto. This is from Bradco Supply. Okay. One used case backhoe, $12,121.21. One used Elgin sweeper, $1,111.11. One used galleon grater, $1,111.11.
As far as the backhoe, Bradco Supply had the highest bid, and I think that's a good price.
Yep.
Because that is a 94.
94.
So on that, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we award Bradco Supply the backhoe bid for $12,121.21.
Motion made by Mr. McNall, that we award Bradco the bid $12,121.21 for the backhoe.
I second that, Mr. President.
Second by Mr. Giardi. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Donnie Odell, I believe, on the grader.
On the grader.
You're looking for high amounts.
And I'm looking for a higher amount than that, though.
Yeah, I think it's 15, 15.
So what?
I'm looking for 4 or 5 at least.
Well, I move we reject the bids for the grader.
Yeah, a grader, and what about the sweeper? Of course, we're not gonna get much for that.
Well, I make the motion that we reject the bids for the grader.
Motion made by Mr. McNall that we reject the bids for the grader.
And I'll make a motion that we accept the bid for the sweeper from Bob McClure at $15.
Oh, wait, we need to second this one first.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Ettaro. We reject bid for the grader. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. President, are we just gonna go and re-advertise that
We'll
then?
probably re-advertise, yeah. You made a motion.
To accept the bid for the sweeper from Bob McClure in the amount of $15,0505.
I second that, Mr. President.
Motion made by Mr. Sopick that we accept the bid from Paul McClure, $15,0505. Any questions or discussions on that, or?
You all feel that's a reasonable price? Don't really know much about street equipment.
Well, the thing is, you gotta put 189 gallons of water in it, it goes about 500 feet. And you gotta run it either over here to Baylor's or down at the park to fill it up, and throws more junk on the road than what was on there before, so
Get rid of it.
I don't see much use of it. So,
I
somebody
second
makes-
it. I second it,
Oh,
Mr.
seconded
President.
by Mrs. Girardi, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. So we'll give them the bids and we'll re-advertise the grader for next month. That agreeable with everybody?
When you contact them and they bring in the money to pay and you're going to do the transfer, you should have a bill of sale from the borough to them, which states on it, that it's as is. I know that's the way it was advertised. We also want to put that.
Yeah, we had that.
You want to put that in the
And I
bill.
think we either want a cashier's check or a money order.
Certified check, cashier's check,
Cashier's check.
or you could do it on certified or a cashier's check or a money order.
Okay. That takes care of that. Now, while we're on the bids, I'm gonna switch something here a little bit here. I had it under Park and Recreation. We have bid for tree removal, we're trimming the trees. And what's happened down there where our playground equipment is, there's about 5, 6 trees. They're bent over and they're going to cause somebody injury. Some we can trim, a couple is lean, they're gonna have to be cut clean down.
One of those has fungus right up through.
Yeah. A couple other ones we can cut like off the top and leave the pole there like 20 feet high so nobody gets hurt. You know? And this bid that this fellow put in, he will help clean up and also try to sell the lumber for us, so that will probably take it down. You have his bid, Emma?
Yeah. Ash's proposal,
This is Darren Hoover.
or is it? Oh, here it is. No, that's not it.
They asked for $3,300,
$3,300. Where is it?
which I think for what he's going to be doing, it's a good proposal. And we should be getting money back from some of the lumber.
I took it out of there.
Anyhow, the bid's for $3,300 from Mr. Hoover. To,
How many things like that, maybe you put it in there? The ones I gave you, maybe some on that.
this little one here,
A little yellow.
Here it is.
required to accept other bids for this type of work?
What's that?
Are we required?
Not under $4,000. Okay, Post cut down 3 trees. Floating stumps, leaving stumps around 2 feet high. 2 oak. And,
Hemlock,
what's that?
the hemlock.
Hemlock, top 2 trees. Trim lower branches of tree near arc light. Remove dead wood from the hemlock. Leave good logs. Help Burr clean up brush and remove firewood. Total of 7 trees. $3,300, which I think I've seen him work before.
He did all the cutting
He's
last
done
time.
stuff in town too.
Yeah.
And we might have a chance of selling some of that wood, so.
33.
You couldn't sell them because those trees are so old and there's so many nails in them that no longer company wanted. But if he can sell them,
Yeah, okay.
over the years, everything they nailed in.
Somebody want to make a motion on this?
I'll make that motion that we,
I'll second it.
Motion made by Mr. Sonic that we award this $3,300 contract to Darren Hoover and Windy Hill Tree Care. We have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. McNall, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You can contact him and make sure he gives you a certificate of insurance. Okay. Citizen to address council. I have a paper here. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people signed up to address council. Now you have 3 minutes. Pam, Peter.
Hello.
Hi.
I know most of you just because I've lived here for the last 15 years, but grew up in the house I live in now. I grew up there with my great aunt Goldie and my uncle Charlie Bell. This town's become very dear to my heart, and that's why I come to you guys tonight. Not for any purpose other than just genuine concern for our town. Reading at Gant Daily, where I used to work, a letter to the editor from John Wright from the Economic Development Council. It concerned me when I read what he said, and I thought, I'm going to go to my council and I'm going to tell him my concerns. I'm sorry, I'm worked up about it. I've done what a lot of people I think have done and been very complacent about this and just said, it's great, we're going to get jobs here, and that's what we need. But that letter, I started looking and I realized this is going to be a coal burning plant. And that concerned me. I guess I just assumed you were getting what Clearfield got. And I don't know why, I just assumed it. So I have a few questions. I'll read them to you now so you can think about them, but I also printed them off so that I could give them to you, because I don't expect you to just have answers for me right off the bat.
Well, that'd be good if you can hand them out.
Yeah.
That way we can look at them.
Yeah, I'll hand them out here as soon as I'm done.
Go ahead.
I wanted to know, how involved has council been with the decision? Because, like I said, I haven't paid any attention.
I think previous council has been very involved.
Yeah, then, because what I'm hoping is that you probably have the answers for me then that I was looking for. Has anyone looked at the cons of the coal burning facility in the community? And if so, have those questions been asked of Sunnyside, and have they put anything in writing to protect the health of the citizens of Curwensville? Because I'm concerned of the future effects on our children. I'm raising 4 children here. My background is in education, and I did a lot of work and study in autism. There are many concerns that go along with placing a coal burning plant in your community and increases. And there are actually studies done in Texas where they're continually adding coal burning plants. And the rise in certain diseases over 5, 10, 15 years in children and syndromes are really very high. And if those questions haven't been asked, I would like to ask of council that we find the right people to ask those questions.
Well, let me say this so far. Our engineer picked up ethanol's plans today. And he's going to have 5 days to review them, make sure everything is the way it should be. then it will go to the planning commission on the 22nd for them to look at and decide.
Okay. Is that a public meeting that's open that I could attend, or?
Yes?
Okay, great. I'm gonna put that on my list then. Well, and I mentioned autism, asthma, cancers. The other question I had is a study of market values of homes. My husband and I are putting a lot of money into fixing up our home so that we have something special. It doesn't look real special yet, but it will. And the studies that I found are that market values drop because people think that if they're gonna have to live near or within view of a smokestack, that they ought to get a real good deal on their house. And so property values actually drop in communities that bring these facilities in.
By how much?
I didn't print any of that off. Simply,
There was a smokestack there for 50, 60, almost 100 years. 100 years. 100 years.
100.
but I don't know that because it used to exist that that's a reason to go back. And that's one of my questions today is that, does anyone else feel that we're kind of looking at going backwards instead of forwards? And have we looked at any other ways to develop the local economy? Because I think that there might be other ways. I don't profess to have the answers, but right now I have questions, and really any way I can be involved, I would be glad to.
I think one of the things is, Curwensville is very limited as far as land. There just isn't any land to develop anything. And that's probably the only piece that's left. Of course, there's a lot of work that has to be done there before that can be developed. And of course, there's pros and cons. If DEP watches like I think they're supposed to, and the scrubbers are kept clean and they're checked, there shouldn't be really a problem.
And I guess that's the kind of thing that I'm asking. Can we get something in writing from them?
I have a call in to DEP, I have a letter here that I sent to Denny Wright. He's a scientist in Williamsport. I told him to find out what kind of media builders are using on their scrubbers. If they are using fiber media, that eliminates furans and dioxin totally. That is right out of a journal. That is what that was created for. And I told Denny, get back to me as soon as possible. That was last Wednesday.
Well, when our engineer looks at that stuff, he'll know exactly what's going to go on because he's going to have their plans for 4 or 5 days. And then he will go down and look at the site. Because I had some questions and some things for him to look at, so he's going to be looking at all of that. Then he'll come back with his recommendations.
Okay. And then I guess what I'm looking for as a citizen in the future then when these things happen is that we actually have something in writing from Sunnyside. A lot of places that write about having coal burning plants put in, the citizens are concerned because 5-10 years down the road, the company's not upholding their end of the deal, and these things that you're talking about, I recognize the terms, that look to those things are not always kept up. Another thing that happens is, say this plant needs to emit more of something, but they're already at a limit. They can buy credits from other plants in the state that haven't emitted the limit yet, and actually emit more things because someone else farther away didn't. And I would really like to know, does Sunnyside do that? Do they practice that?
Let me say this. Even as the plant gets older, I know what some of the lifespans are 15, 20 years. They can't go back on their emissions. NAR was up there for all them years, and they caused me lots of problems. And I had DEP in, and they made sure that the scrubbers were kept clean, and they took care of that problem. And that plant was 60, 70 years old, and DEP made sure that those scrubbers were kept clean and the dust was kept down to the ground to minimum, because when they first started using the crusher up there, it was coming down on my house. My yard was white.
You want to tell her where you live in relationship to North Dakota?
Yeah, I just lived about 700
It's all
feet
rock
away.
at the building.
I'll probably be able to throw a rock from my house to the smokestack.
No, I'm a little closer than you are.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they have to, no matter how old the plant gets, they have to keep it modernized. I mean, that's my understanding. But we'll find out more when our engineer looks at this, and they come in to meet with us.
One thing that came out of my interview with the fellow from DEP that I thought was interesting in regards to this is the lack of accountability in regards to some of those other, the dioxins, furans, and many of the other pollutants that are on there that don't have limits set. There is a concern there. DEP is going to enforce if indeed the permit enables them to enforce it. If there's nothing in the permit that they're going to be enforcing any of these things, and they don't. They also have testing set for once a year. And I asked the guy flat out, what happens the other 364 days of the year? And he told me, we don't know.
That's what the
We
planning-
respond if somebody complains.
That's what the planning commission is going to have to look at. And I'm sure that if that does go in, I'm not saying it is, it isn't. If it goes in, I'm sure there'll be people appointed to check that and keep their eye on it. And I'm sure as a neighbor there, as soon as you see something out of whack, you're gonna call DEP.
Well, the problem would be though that I don't know what's out of whack, so I'm trusting the people in charge of this project.
Well,
To
our
make sure that
engineer,
my
our
family and I
engineer
are
will be
safe.
checking that out periodically. We have to, we'll have to come in.
May I ask what your source of information is that you were looking at? Perhaps we could pick up the same information.
Really, what I started to do just this week after I read that article at Gant is to just start Googling the topics, looking up people that, other towns that have had plants put in the last 10 years, what people have to say about it. And the interesting thing, which actually had this for kind of my conclusion, is that you can't find a positive thing written anywhere from anyone except the representative of one of the companies, and that the communities all have kind of a sense of remorse that it happened. And that struck me, that when I tried to find the
You got me all that
pluses.
information.
Did you look up Badger State ethanol?
Well, I'm not
I'm
quite sure why
gonna
I'm
throw you
talking.
I'll throw you 5 articles on the internet that I saw were positive.
That's fine. I just don't, what I don't understand though is, I just came with my concerns, but I'm sensing that I don't know what's going on, but.
Have you been out around Homer City or Shalopta, PA? Where they have
Homer
the
City,
stacks
yes.
hundreds of feet in the air?
Mhm.
Now, I think you'll see there's no pollution coming here. And the good thing about it, that warms the air, and from Marion Center to Indiana, there's very little snow in the winter. But as far as pollution, that thing is white. I used to inspect that track and stuff up through there, and I never seen any problems up in that area.
I'm not here to say that I don't want it to come in, okay? I'm here to say that I want to ask every person possible that I can ask
That's understandable.
that can help protect my kids for growing up here.
But just wait when we have meetings and you come,
And I want to ask,
and you'll hear all about it.
and I want every person involved to ask all the right questions and to make sure that we're
This
not
town
making a
is
mistake.
dying, you know that. I've been here forever.
Why don't you leave your cards here then, and
Yes,
I have
yeah,
everything.
leave them here.
give my secretary, put your name on them.
I have something typed up for each of you, but
Good.
if, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Mrs. Girardi, and here's my opinion, if you're looking for my opinion, we died an industrial death here once already, and I don't know why we're going back to try and do it again. I just think there are many other options, but I'm not in the position to consider what economic development can happen here. I'll be glad to help any way I can, but I don't, my opinion, if you're asking my opinion at this time, I don't want to see Curwensville step back and put in another factory and go through the industrial death again. So,
Now, ma'am, I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to have to cut you off because there's other citizens here that want to
Yes.
speak, okay?
yes, I'm
And
going
I
to
gave you a lot more than your 3 minutes.
yes, well, you guys spoke too, so
Yeah.
I think we all got about 3 minutes. If you want to take one of each of those and pass them around. I appreciate your time
Sure.
sincerely, and I respect each of you, and I thank you.
Thank you
very
for
much.
coming, we appreciate it. Mr. Wills,
Thank you. I think a lot of her questions would have been answered if she'd gone to the meetings that the ethanol plant had here originally. They had all kind of meetings. Evidently, the people didn't go to find out what was going on.
I did.
Before I started,
I went.
my son,
I went.
who graduated from Curwensville High School, is an environmental engineer. He works for Wood Consulting in Florida. And I've talked to him quite a bit about the plant. And he sees no problem with it. And the my prepared statement. Why are we spreading fear about the ethanol plant? The plant has passed all the state requirements. We have a small group of people who want to destroy all the hard work of our industrial development organization. There isn't one person on the board who would bring a business in town that would hurt anyone in our community. Franklin Delano Rose said one time during the Second World War, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. I would like to ask those opposed to the plant, what have you done to make our town a better place to live? What jobs have you secured for Curwensville? Do you own a home in Curwensville? How long have you lived here? I have lived here 42 years, own a home, retired here and seen many jobs leave town. Our young people move away for work. We all use electric, home heating, fuel, gasoline, etc. They all pollute. Environmentalists say, not in my backyard. The Curwensville community says we are willing to help solve the fuel crisis, and our young people need the job. Anyone have any questions?
Well said.
Thank you for your presentation. Okay, next we have Lisa Beecher.
Lisa. Is it Lisa?
I can't tell you.
Probably me.
Third one down.
Oh,
Is that Carol?
Betsy.
Louis, and Lisa.
Mr. Donnie.
The only thing I want to say, I'm just going to stand there. I want to thank you very much for fixing the road up for us
Well, we're
on the
trying.
hill. And the only thing I say about the ethanol plant is compliance. Whatever the compliance is, when they permit it, that's the bottom line, and it's over with. One way or another, that's just the way it is. It's all about compliance.
Okay, thank you.
You've had quite a bit of experience in that too. I bought her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Okay, Carol, is that Mark?
Mactown? Hello, everybody. I guess I don't know hardly anybody here, and you probably don't know me. My name is Carol Mactown. I'm a retired social worker. My husband Jack and I live in Curwensville. We've owned a home here and lived here for 14 years.
She is Tawny Sankey's mother. We all remember Tawny's progress.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I am on the side of, I'm really worried. I am not a tree hugger, but I definitely am an environmentalist. I would like to see the cleanest possible air, water, and living conditions for me, of course, and for everyone else involved in our families. Our children don't live here, they both live out of state. I do know that it is so depressed here, and every one of the small towns in this area suffer the same thing. And we probably want to jump at anything we can to get work here. And I think that's fine, and I admire that. I think that pollution from this plant, I've seen so much on television. I've watched everything that's about ethanol. One of the things they said was it will take 10 years for an ethanol plant to see profits as far as gasoline is concerned. In other words, the price of ethanol, running gasoline ethanol, whatever it's going to be called, for vehicles will not be realized for 10 years, then it will be 3%. So I guess the bottom line for us is jobs. And that's really sad because, yes, we direly need that. And someone said, well, DEP will place the restrictions and they will say what is acceptable and what isn't. 3 Mile Island. Did anyone ever think a catastrophe?
Yeah, my
like that?
brother-in-law lived no more than 5 minutes away from 3 Mile Island, and that plant did exactly what it was supposed to do, and human error caused what happened.
But nonetheless, an explosion and a meltdown
It wasn't
happened.
an explosion.
Meltdown.
No, it wasn't a meltdown. It was close.
They
It
called
was
it.
almost a meltdown.
They called it a
That
meltdown.
is absolutely incorrect.
Well,
I had a sister that lived in that area. Believe
Okay.
me, we were concerned.
Mhm.
I can show you data for that.
Okay.
That was.
Carol, I think your point is that mistakes and accidents happen.
And
you.
one other thing about gasoline and ethanol, a lot of people have the misconception about this plant, that this is going to replace gasoline. Absolutely not. This plant is to manufacture the replacement for the chemical MTBE to add to gasoline. It has nothing to do with switching to E85. That stuff, that MTBE, if you want to play with something nasty, that is, believe me.
Okay, but the corn that's going to be required to do this, wherever, all over.
And that plant is convertible to cellulosic when the technology, and that comes right from Penn State. Professor Sikri was involved in that. He said that once these plants are built, they are very easily convertible to cellulosic ethanol. And that is organic matter, that's roots, that's plants, that's switchgrass. There goes the corn. You don't have to worry about the food supply.
Well, what happens to our air in the meantime? That could be 10, 15, 20 years down the road. We don't
Well, if you can't trust DEP and the EPA, then I guess we might as well eliminate those two branches of government.
I don't think you can 100% trust them. I think they can, their standards and their requirements are minimal. And
Minimal?
I would say in a lot of cases.
I don't think so.
That's
I work as an environmental consultant.
Can she finish her comment? She has the floor. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but.
Yeah, you do. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm interested in your input too. I guess what I'm saying is I am opposed to any more pollution than we absolutely have to have. If we are to get the plant, why have we not bargained for the same type of it has gotten? A 300-foot smokestack, which is what I understand it is supposed to be. And if you see, if you've watched any of the technical programs on TV, those things spew 24 hours a day. And that will put pollution into the entire town and probably beyond. And I had seen an article that said, well, they have safeguards in place in case of an explosion. Hello, what happens in case of an explosion? Then it's happened. There's a school right there. Well, besides, I live like a stone's throw over the I live on Irwin Hill. And yes, I'm very concerned. I like to garden. I like to put my laundry on the line. I like to have my grandson be able to play in the backyard when he's there without risking breathing toxins.
I think everybody feels the way you do. I don't really know if we have enough natural gas lines here or something like that.
You need to go the other route.
Did anybody explore that, I believe was Carol's point, and I would agree with that. Did we explore other options, or did we just take what Sunnyside gave us?
Well, I don't think, we don't have that much natural gas in this town. There's a line that goes up towards the brickyard, a line goes up back to George Street, but other than that, no. People are talking about wanting to drill down here.
Well, one of the reasons why they are using waste coal is because we have a great deal of it in this area that can be purchased cheaply. And I talked to a family member of a local coal company about this waste coal that they're going to use, and he feels that it's safe. I mean, it's been scrubbed, as somebody said, if the scrubbers are working correctly or whatever, then this waste coal will really...
Well, there was another purpose for that also, and that was to get the stuff off the ground, because a lot of that is runoff into streams. You're polluting trout streams.
Are you aware that they're going to put the fly ash back on those grounds, though, after they burn?
Yeah, it's not going to be trucked out of Curwensville, I don't think.
It's just being converted to what they
I'm
call
afraid they picked Curwensville because we're a small little town that's lacking in any industry, and they figured they wouldn't have any backlash. I mean, maybe not. Maybe they wanted to do us a favor and decide to come here. I can't see
If
that,
it's
though.
clean property, they're even using coal to make synthetic fuel for airplanes now. And it's $35 a barrel compared to what oil is. So they're starting to follow that route. I mean, there's all kinds of ways. Coal is our biggest resource here.
Yeah, for sure.
And if it's done right, it can be used, it can be kept clean. You're not dependent on oil.
You know, I think the tannery did an awful lot of pollution. That employed an awful lot of people and pumped Curwensville up, and yes, it did. We didn't live here then. In fact, when we were moving here, I stupidly did not know the tannery existed. I came at a time when all the leaves were on the trees, and I couldn't see anything. I looked in the backyard, didn't ask. And one time when the real estate agent was showing me something about the house, I said, "What is that horrible smell? What happened to you Friday?" She said, "Someone must be frying fish." And we enjoyed that for the entire time that we were there. We were
Years ago, what you're saying is true. Because back in 1988, Curwensville had more toxic, cancer-causing pollution in the water and air than any place in the state.
I guess Irwin Hill.
But that was 1988, where they've come a long way on keeping clean air. And I'm for clean air, I'm for clean water. I might even be a tree hugger. So, but
Close, but I'm not quite there yet. But anyway,
as far as, I think in this borough, we'll see if that goes in, that everything is handled properly and be taken care of.
who do you think would want to come and get into this town if they came and visited and saw that 300-foot smokestack with the white smoke coming out of it, smelling it? It's like,
People down there.
Well, that's different if there's an odor or not, but if there's
of course,
not,
there's bound to be an odor.
Coal furnace over there.
You burn bad coal in a furnace in your home, in your basement. We've had it and we've done it before we converted. It's horrible. And we spend all this money on trying to clean up the area. And it is beautiful. There are extremely beautiful parts. But, you know, if you had a choice and you were here and you someone to go somewhere overnight, would you have gone to Tyrone or Johnsonburg? I wouldn't. I would never think of it.
Can I ask you a question, Carol?
I lived in Tyrone for years.
I think the people that have lived there like all their lives do get used to it. But I wouldn't say I'm going to go there and visit
you'll
because
probably
it's so
have less
pretty.
pollution when
Yeah,
you
I
get out
think
of
she
these
was
coal
there.
fires.
Time we get the snow back,
Furnaces
so they're damn
outside.
happy with all the jobs that left.
Anymore.
I could.
I just like to know.
I'm sorry.
In regards to mechanisms that we have, I hear
Piece of construction, I don't know exactly how many big construction jobs.
I hear the big I word a lot.
And kids can go to school and get trained.
If it's going to be done right, if it's going to be, what I'd like to know, and this is something I just passed around to everybody here, I'm going to pass a letter around too to everybody. I've been saying in previous meetings that we should be having another public discourse to get past the if and get some real answers on the other side of this
Well, to
thing.
interrupt you did ask that.
Yes, I did, David.
You did ask
If I
that,
could
and
finish my
we
thought.
really wanted,
Dave.
if you wanted to make a special meeting that the council could have where we would discuss this and only this issue. We have other business that we need to conduct.
Yes, I understand that. I passed around a township air pollution monitoring and disclosure ordinance that townships in Pennsylvania are utilizing to pass stricter.
Which townships are utilizing it?
Right now, they just won actually in federal court.
One?
Two of them.
Not all.
They just won in federal court. Culpmont Borough.
And where's that at?
I don't know
What
exactly
county?
where it is. I'll provide you with the info.
Okay, thank you.
I gave you the ordinance. It's something that I think we have a tool. We can actually request that Sunnyside put real-time monitoring, real-time pollution monitoring, so we don't have to just trust blindly that the 364 days out of the year that they're not being held to the DEP standards, that the real-time monitoring equipment will put that stuff up on the internet, and anybody at any time
Let me
can
tell
tap
you,
in there and check it out.
we're going to have to move on. We can't concentrate on this right now. We have your questions here.
Can I make one statement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Brazil runs all their cars and everything on ethanol. And you don't hear
Sugar.
their plants blowing up or anything.
Anyway,
They've been running it for
We
years.
have all
We
your
don't live in
questions here.
Brazil.
We have the other lady's questions here. That way, we'll have our engineer look them all over and see if we can give you answers to
The only
this.
thing I'd like to say is that this is all about 50 jobs. Which person would want to say?
50 jobs?
Well,
That's all the jobs that are gonna come in over this?
We don't know. We haven't.
well, I said if.
55 they're talking about.
Okay, if. Is anyone, I know I'm not willing to say, I'll take $100,000 for my health or my husband's or any loved ones.
Why did the commissioners have to ask the governor for help to get jobs from Bayonne just this past Thursday? I thought that was really telling. The fact of the matter is they're coming in making promises to us we can hold their toes to the fire and get a contract. Any other legal
But once the plant's here,
We
once the
need-
plant's
can't
here,
backpedal.
right.
Exactly.
We need to move on.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm finished.
So,
Thank you all very much.
okay, we'll take these questions,
Thank
the
you.
other ladies, and we will give them to the engineer. When he comes in to look at these, we try to have you the right answers. Ron Johnson?
Hello, my name is Ron Johnson. I'm here on behalf of the Curwensville Little League. We would like to ask for your permission to proceed in trying to get a grant for some renovations on the Sherman ball fields over here on the backside of the park.
Are they still using that for mini league too?
As of right now, I don't believe there's anybody using it.
There's nobody using it right now.
Is there a mini
Everybody's
league now,
welcome.
Dave? Is there a mini league?
Yeah, that was just in the paper last week. The
Yeah,
only
that's
thing-
what I was wondering.
Are you the
One was
fellows
a
that
2
did
years.
that before?
Not the mini league.
No, we
No,
don't.
absolutely.
The only thing that the borough required before, if the mini league wanted to use that field, is to show proof of insurance for the kids playing on that field.
Right.
And the field's still open for anybody who wants
And
to
you
back
want to
there.
apply for a grant?
Huh?
You want to apply for?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. DCNR has what they call a small communities grant, and it's $20,000 non-matching.
Really?
Yes. Basically, all we are asking for at this time is for your blessings for us as the Little League to go after it, and to allow us to act as the grant managers. We have contacted Hughes Engineering regarding them writing the grant. They are very positive in the fact that the money is available.
What are they going to charge you to do the grant?
It's $300. That will come out of the Little League. Actually, the Little League and the Teener League have agreed to put the money up for them to write the grant. So we feel that it's a good enough venture to.
You're gonna renovate the whole deal out there?
Yeah,
last year we.
the Senior League and the Little League so far, we've put $17,000 into those.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
And the money's just hard, you know, with our community the way it is, you just can't go ask everybody, you know, for more money. We've asked them to begin with. We got one grant from Bud George of $5,000 that we put back there. And this is our next step, hopefully, to try to finish the project. We'd like to put, you know, a concession stand back there. We'd like to run water and electric, you know, from VD&D side over into the fields, to, you know, and make it a nice little complex for the area.
I think
And this is just the
100%
next
behind you
step.
as long as no cost to the borough, but I will tell you this. If you receive that grant, you're going to pay out a lot more than $300. You better get that right.
Well, I know Richard Hughes, and I think he's doing a lot of this
Oh, is it
free
Mr.
grant.
Hughes?
But I think,
I don't know that.
I know,
well, we need some
I
kind
make
of
a motion that we endorse the program to refurbish the fields out here.
I second that, Mr. President.
No monetary.
Oh, sorry.
No,
much.
Yeah.
no, there will be no monetary.
We won't come
The only
and ask
thing
for
we're, like I said, the only thing we're asking is that that you give us the permission to be the grant manager, which means we'll take care of all the legwork. We'll take care of getting all the endorsement letters.
And you furnish your certificates of insurance.
I'm sorry?
Certificates of insurance.
Yes,
Yes,
once
yes.
any of the work that's done follows strict guidelines through the grant itself, you know, there'll be bonds and so forth that everybody will have to have.
We have to have the grant back by the 25th. We could possibly let that there for the to look it over.
Yes, I
To
have.
make sure that we're not falling into something, you know, that we don't want to fall into.
Do you need something from us in writing?
You have to sign a couple spots on as the borough council.
Yes.
But now, is anybody else going to be able to use that field, or?
Yeah, that's already in the plan since we've already started this. But anybody is able to use those fields. The only thing that they have to do is come to a Little League or a Teener League, and we have to have proof of insurance that they have for you guys. We have to come and show you, hey, the Curwensville Mini League is going to use those fields back here. Here's their insurance, okay? And they're going to use it, we plan the days. They're going to use it Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays.
Who owns the field?
The borough.
Part of the grant is, one of the stipulations in the grant is that it remains open. So, you know, I mean, they're not going to give the borough money to fix it up and then close it off for just one organization. Right. So.
You guys gonna work with Mini Lake?
Correct, yeah, we just want to see another, you know, we've got a couple of ball fields down there that we've started working on. The Little League and the Teener League ran out of money. We found a vehicle that will give us some more funds to finish it, and the $20,000 will go a long way to making 2 ball fields that are playable for the kids in the community.
Okay, Mr. McNall's made a motion that we endorse this outfit with no cost to the borough. We have a second.
I second that, Mr. President.
Seconded by Mr. Girardi, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Thank you.
Do you need anything?
I guess that's all the citizens that we
Person here.
have.
Just a couple of things that we need that signed. Thank you.
Mayor's report.
The only thing I noticed something over Kyle, Mark, I believe over in Thompson and State, we should either remove those left-hand turn signs or get it enforced once in a while. We might as well not have them up there.
I wonder if we
Every
need,
time you
I
go up
wonder if
there,
we
you
have
see
to
people
contact,
turning left.
we have to contact the PennDOT now for those reviews.
I don't know, they're on,
Yeah.
I mean, they're on Palms, they're on the Borough Street. I think we put them up to start with, because it's kind of limited
And I think
being
what-
able to see, but
Yeah.
since they moved those parking meters back a little bit, it's not really too bad. I just, it's kind of silly having them there.
Let me have the street committee check that out. Mr. Knoll, Mr. Zombie.
I will.
How about you fellas checking, see about taking the signs down?
I'll call Sean to find out about
I
it.
just want to make sure they're not, nobody's, if we have to, we'll stop that parking at them man meters. Because we don't want the same problem like we have up to Methodist Church on Sundays.
Yep.
You can't go by, you gotta go clear down and around. And if somebody gets hurt there, the borough's gonna be liable. So if we have a sign, no parking near the corner, we need to move them back. Take care of this. And the best thing would be to get in touch with,
Sean and Gosti.
yeah, and have him come up and check and put the distance, so if we have to, we'll move them back.
So we're just gonna rewind and do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Animal Control Officer report. Did we get a report from Judy?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Fire Chief, see here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Just a few things. I don't have a printout report tonight. I got caught up with some new house
That's okay.
development stuff, and I didn't get a chance to do it.
That's all right.
Kind of give you an overview up to this date from January 1st till now. We're up to 91 calls, and that's a variety of everything: accidents, fires, mutual aid. Starting to get into brush fire season. I'd like to caution everybody that's burning, legally burning, to be very cautious about it. Don't burn more than what you can handle. Make sure the wind's down. Make sure you've got a water source. We've had 5 brush fires in the last 3 days, and all 5 have been caused by people burning debris, leaving it unattended, or burning a larger pile than what they can control by themselves. So keep that under your hats, because if it gets large enough, forestry will come in and find the person that is responsible for that, and that can be into the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You get a bill for that too, don't you?
Not from us,
No.
but from DCNR and the state. That can lead into a very large fine for whoever's involved with that.
But currently, we have a no burning.
Currently, within the borough, we have no burning ordinance. You can't burn anything. Correct. All 5 of these have occurred either in Lumber City Borough or Pike Township.
You can burn twigs and stuff with a permit between 6 and 9 at night, except for Saturdays and Sundays.
Correct.
You know, you can't burn other Sundays.
Correct.
As long as there are no objections to anything.
Yeah, no, maybe.
Right. We run into, since that's been passed, I haven't had any major complaints on that. There's a few times that we've been, when I worked for the Borough Police, we've had a few burning complaints in the neighborhoods and stuff. Nothing large scale anyway.
What about this audit?
Mr. Rosewood contacted me about that audit. What this audit is enduring is, I keep everything under tight rein over there. What happened was, I was in the police academy in Indiana. So for 6 months, Monday through Friday, I was away. We had some guys that got some different ideas in their head and tried to undermine Mr. Hoover as far as presidency. They thought that if they could get somebody in there that they could be puppet, they could be the puppet, they could do whatever they wanted to do and however, without any strict rules as oversight as Mr. Hoover puts into it. I didn't know anything about it. Well, what happened was, when I learned about it, I took them back and confronted the individuals involved, and they ended up leaving the department. The one individual involved was our treasurer on the Relief Association. So pretty much what happened was all the work he did up to that certain point, from the time he left until I got that position filled through whoever ran for that position, there was a lapse there. And just as my luck would have it, that's when the audit came. So there was stuff that was unfounded, or founded and unfounded, and not done, due to the fact that the guys that were on the Relief Association, they're trying to pick up their jobs, is what they, president, vice president, secretarial stuff. Everybody tried to pick up and help do the treasurer's position. The treasurer's position is a very complicated position. It's like a running a bank. You have to account for everything.
Right.
There's certain things you can buy from the Relief Association monies. There's certain things you can't buy. You have to document everything. You have to have ledgers. You have to have full receipts. I mean, it's very complicated.
Right.
And to ask somebody that's not experienced in that to do that is very hard to do. And the way our bylaws read, once somebody leaves an office and it requires to be an elected position, their name has to be brought onto the floor, and Mr. Hoover will close nominations for membership. It has to set for 30 days. Once that 30 days comes up, the next meeting, then it gets voted on. So there's a large lapse time there before we can actually get somebody in
To do that.
certified to do.
Now, next year, the borough will be doing your auditing.
Right. Right.
That's right here.
Everything that was found in that audit that you folks have has been 99.8% corrected.
Okay, fine.
Just due to the fact that there was a lapse there. That's the reason why that was there.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. I
Well,
mean, it wasn't due to,
We wanted to find out.
yeah, it wasn't due to negligence. It wasn't due to misappropriated funds. It wasn't due to guys, taking stuff or stealing stuff and of that nature. It was just, we got, put in a bad situation by a couple individuals. But everything that's on there has been corrected. As a matter of fact, I contacted our treasurer, current treasurer. We sat down and went through everything, and everything is up to date as of right now. And I'm going to have a meeting with Mr. Rigsworth, since he's head of the fire committee, about everything else that, if there is anything else that we need to do, or what we can do, everything will be on paper. I'll give that to you. I'll give it either to him. If I can't make the meeting, I'll give it to him. He can present it to the council.
Okay, fine, that's fine.
If I'm here, I'll present it, whatever we do.
Thank you so much for that.
But that's how that happened. We received $20,860 for our state grant, which has been divided for purchasing new fire gear, pagers, portables. We were pretty desperate to need some new attack line hose. Purchased some of that. We were in desperate need of adapters for our engines, we run different threading and adapter types than some of our mutual aid companies. So we have to have what they run, and they have to have what we run, plus our own.
Yep.
So we had to go through and do a lot of that stuff too. So that money's been appropriated out to where it's already at. We applied for the federal grant, which is, the closing date was last week, is for a new foam engine. As I talked at the last meeting about what the ethanol plant and some other items we are faced with, this is a way that will not cost anybody anything if we can get this grant. Except for our department, it will cost our department I think it's 2% of what the actual cost of the apparatus is. Doesn't cost the borough anything, doesn't cost Pike Township anything, nothing like that. It's kind of like a freebie. But you're competing with every fire department in the United States. You have to sell it to them, so hopefully we can do that. And if things happen the way they are, and if we do get the type of help that we were promised by the ethanol plant, we may be able to have a 2-for-1 if we can get this state grant, or this federal grant. And if they pitch in to help us purchase something that we may need as well, we might have some new apparatus that we can use.
They assured me they would, and they would be sending you to school to Baltimore.
Yep. Yeah, I just spoke with Mr. Caesar the other day about some items, so I'm very confident there that we will receive what we need to receive as far as foam application training, anything of that nature. So, pretty much that's where we're at right now. Training's up to date. We have several summer, spring trainings coming up, water rescue classes, vehicle rescue. We've got a couple guys in the state certified fire academy right now. So, all runs high, manpower numbers are still good. We're still pulling several guys for calls, knock on wood. So, that's pretty much where we stand right now.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis.
Okay, street committee. Alan Stevens reports in the notebook, and Alan Stevens reports in the notebooks. He will be on vacation April 23rd, 24th, 25th, 28th, 29th. He's going to need about $2,000 for different repairs that we have down there. But hopefully we can use what I thought we sell this equipment, but half in the general fund, half keep right in a separate account for repairs that we need. Okay, we're going to look at ordinance number 46.
Well, before on that, people have asked me about sweeping the streets and stuff like that. Is there going to be?
Well, we're going to, by the end of next week, PennDOT will be sweeping the streets.
Okay.
So we need to have something in the paper. Are you paying attention, Diane? Okay. We need to have something in the paper. The PennDOT will be sweeping the streets by the end of next week. And Susquehanna Avenue, Filbert Street, Walnut Street, they need to be sweeping their sidewalks out to the street. Now, as far as us doing anything, Alan is trying to find out if we can get a price for sweeping the streets ourselves. And I told him, the idea will be they will do that street one time. We'll have to put the stuff in the paper, what streets, providing nothing happens, inclement weather or anything. They're going to come through that street once, both ways. People don't move their cars, they're never coming back. Because we're not going to spend $5,000, $6,000 because people don't want to move their cars. So that's the way that works. But as soon as he gets a price, we'll see what we can bring up probably by that May meeting and maybe do that in May.
Okay. I was going to ask Ms. Byers, if Fred and I can come over sometime and sit down and talk to you, because I know you'll have a lot of stuff in tonight's paper not related to the street cleaning, but maybe a separate, news article, asking which sidewalks should be swept onto the street, and make this a little separate, maybe someday this week.
It'll be all of Susquehanna Avenue, all of Filbert Street, and all Walnut Street.
Okay, good.
Basically your main drags for PennDOT.
And plus going up Windy Hill because they do that.
Yeah.
PennDOT's, So that will take care of that. Okay, I think you've all got a copy of ordinance number 463 on the sanitary sewers.
David and Fred and I were talking before the meeting there, wonder if we could do the cleanup again this spring. Have it all
spruce
over here for people to get ready stuff. We've done it for the last 2 years.
Yard waste, stuff like that.
We're going to start cleaning, we're going to start cleaning the leaves first week of May. No garden stuff. Nothing. Because we have no place to dump it, because they're letting dump stuff from the bridge over there. That's outlawed. Hurt the environment. Can't dump anything over there anymore.
What did they dump over there?
Whatever came from that bridge.
Who did?
I don't know. Whoever was here.
Well, we were reported to DEP, and we got a letter on it. That's wetlands in that area of the park, and we're not to put any.
So nothing can be done. We're having time getting rid of the leaves, so people that have garden stuff, you're going to have to either rototill it under it, gather it up and give it to the garbage man.
How about sticks and organic stuff like that?
If they're small twigs, with the leaves, that's different. But you can't be putting other stuff and nothing out of the garden at all. Because we have no room to dump it. And that's sad.
Not what I was talking about.
No, that's,
Well, what,
Last 2 years, we got U-Gill to put a big dumpster over here, and we let people clean up around their houses, get rid of
that's
different
what we're talking about.
junk and stuff.
Oh, okay.
You know,
What, do you have a price on that?
Emma would probably know.
It's one of those containers.
Do they want to know?
Yeah, I bet.
well, we
That's
did
what-
it 2 days.
Well, we did it 2 days, yeah.
And it was $400 and some dollars, I believe.
Well, do you remember how much that cost us?
Well, I don't know, it's like, it's over $100.
Sure, it's over $100.
Well, with the advertising and Hugo charged us, I think, $400. It could be
Because we
around
had it,
$500.
we had it for over how many days down there?
They'll probably let it for a week.
That was down there.
Sometimes they leave it 2 weeks.
Well, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and begin with this cleanup with the garbage. Now, last 2 years, we advertised in the paper exactly what was allowed and who
Yeah.
was allowed. Curwensville residents had to prove their residency. But I'll make that motion, and then I will check with Hugo and the progress about advertising.
And in that motion, the bags will not contain nothing but leaves to bird food and like that. Okay, motion made by Mr. McNall that we check into having the dumpster over there for a couple of weeks. We have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Sopick, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Now we're into ordinance number 463 for the sanitary sewers. I think everybody got a copy of it. We had talked about 6 feet from the house, but we compromised, it'll be right against the outside of the structure. The authority will have to provide the stubs from the main line where the people hook on. And any way you look at it, whether they're sleeved or not, the people have till December the 31st, 2010. So if they're sending any letters out or anything, just forget it. Is that right, Mr. Seaman?
Yes, the earliest that they'd have to comply would be December 31, 2010.
So,
Do you need a motion on that?
yeah, we need a motion.
I move that we adopt the,
Well, we can't adopt it, we haven't advertised it yet.
okay.
Did you want to provide it to the municipal authority prior to saying you to advertise it and adopt it, see if there's any comments from them or not?
Not really.
No.
I understand it.
They give comments that, you know, we haven't had very good luck with them as far as talking to them.
Then if this is what you want, then you need to pass a motion to authorize me to advertise it for adoption at your next regular monthly meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Mr. Sullivan made the motion, we advertise ordinance 463, that Mr. Seaman prepare it for the adoption at the next meeting. We have a second? Second by Mr. McNall, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay. The next one is ordinance 466. This has to do with street openings. Before I started drawing this up, I started looking through all different permits. So the permit will be $25. They have to cut 6 inches each side of the ditch with a saw, blacktop. Everything has to be removed out of the ditch. When they fill that ditch, they've got to put 2-way stone, not 2RC, because 2RC has dirt in it. It will be damped every 6 inches till they get to the top. Then they'll put 4 inches of base coating, which has to set 30 days. Then after the 30 days, they'll put 2 or 3 or 4 inches of wearing, whatever it takes, and you'll have to guarantee that for 2 years. There'll be no openings between March the 1st and November the 1st except under extreme emergency. Now, the only correction that I had in this, and I don't think the mayor takes exception to this, 94.4, it says, no permit shall be issued by the secretary unless until the application for the same is approved by the mayor. Okay, we want to change that, and Mr. Hoover's not offended by it, because he doesn't have time to do this. Until the application for the same is approved by the street foreman and or street committee. So they can check on this. And like I said, this has to last for 2 years. There's in here for violations, penalties from $100 to $2,500, 30 days in jail. What's been happening? Municipal Authority, Pike Township Municipal Authority, the gas company, have just cut through, they fill them up with dirt, whatever, and then we end up having to top the whole street. And I figure this way, if that's going to guarantee for 2 years, it'll last probably as long as the road will then after that.
Hold them accountable.
Yeah. So, we have a motion that
I
we have.
move that we advertise those.
Moved by Mr. McDonald, that we advertise, have Mr. Seaman advertise ordinance number 466 for excavation of streets.
I second that, Mr. President.
Seconded by Mrs. Girardi, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Okay, Finance Committee. Bills approved and to be paid in the amount of $18,549.45.
Head of the Finance Committee, I make a motion that we approve the bills of $18,549.45. That's on to the bill.
Pass a resolution for that, apply for county aid. You can do it under new business.
Yeah, we'll do that on this business. Okay.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Unless it's you.
Motion has been made by Mr. McDonald and seconded by Mrs. Girardi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, you, in your books, you have quarterly payroll reports, comparison 1, and for first quarter 2007, first quarter 2008. I think you'll find we saved $40,000 by doing these cuts. Now,
This, I'd like to say that's kind of a feather in your cap.
well, I don't know, my cap.
Well,
Everybody working together.
Everyone is working together, and I want to say that to the street people and the police too. I know they're not here, but I think that tightening the belt this year is going to make a big difference.
Now, what I need to know right now, Madam Treasurer, we have $130,000 plus to pay for the loans in June, plus the regular bills.
Give me a chance. You didn't say anything about that, Mark.
Well, I mean, you know what we have. Right now, it doesn't look like we have it. Here's the next thing. If we don't come up with this money, we're going to have to lay off the police force. There's no way of getting out of this. We can't keep borrowing money. So, things have to be tightened up. Now, we have loans due on the fire truck, July 2008, the amount's $8,262.60. Besides that $57,000 we're in debt for the other two loans. Street Department 350 truck.
That comes out of Highway 8.
Okay, but there's still $5,528.95 has to be paid. The general obligation loan, first payment due May 2008 in the amount of $18,750. Principal only payment, interest is paid monthly. Tax anticipation loan of $200,000 must be paid in full by December of 2008. So you're talking around $400,000 here. So something's going to have to be tightened up because I don't want to let anybody off, and I don't think anybody else wants to. But something's going to have to give here.
Well, as I've been going over this budget, if we hold spending at the current levels that we are doing now after belt tightening, we should be well able to afford to pay off the tax anticipation note, which we have to pay by December 31st. And one half the loan or the partial payment on that 2-year loan. So
Yeah,
we should be
4-year.
looking at
That was a 4-year loan.
Yeah, well, that 40-some thousand, I think we can handle that. The thing is, we don't want to get into it because I don't think we can do it. We don't want another loan for next year.
No. But I think if we continue saving money as we
Watching
have been
everything.
saving, I think we'll be.
I think that was our goal, that's what we've been looking at.
I don't want to see us lay off.
Hopefully, everything, I don't either. Nobody, I don't want to see anybody else
I
late.
don't think Mr. Corolla said we were going to,
No.
we have to stay as vigilant as we have
Yeah.
been.
If we watch what we're doing, there's no reason everybody can't be kept on. But I just said we have to watch the spending, be very careful. Okay, Parks and Recreations, I have one part here, all outstanding bills for the park grant have been paid to the Borough General Fund. Once the grant paperwork is completed by Eads and the outstanding funds are received, they will be deposited in the Borough General Fund. Do you have anything, any of you fellows on park?
Well, I administered the loan from the previous council, and I met with Aaron earlier this afternoon and signed all the papers for reimbursement.
Okay.
So he expects we should be getting that.
Another thing we're going to look into is this Marcella Shale drilling.
Is it possible to discuss contracts or leases in an executive session?
Depends on what the nature of them is. We have some things we have to discuss during that because they may involve litigation.
Well, we're not really, we're just going to be looking into this, find our best deal. We don't want no third parties if we're going to do this. But I think we can all get information from different places. We don't want to go with what we see in the paper, contact this fellow, this guy, leases, and then he sells to them. We want to go directly to the horse's mouth. So if we can make money, we can make money. But that's something, you know, we can think about, unless somebody has objection. And of course, it would depend if somebody comes in and looks where they be drilling at. So, you know, does everybody agree with that? Just to look into it, know.
I think we should proceed very cautiously.
Right, and I agree with you. But I think we should look into it, see what our options are. If it looks good for the borough, we're not going to have problems, we can make some money, fine. If it doesn't look like it's going to be a good thing for the borough or sitting down there where we don't want it, just kick it out. Is that agreeable to everybody? Look into it?
Yes.
I don't think we need a motion on that, we're just trying to look into that. Do you have anything, any of you fellows on Parks and Recreation? Okay.
We're gonna get a hold of Darren tomorrow then, right?
Yeah.
Get him down there, whack his tree down
Yeah.
before, yeah, okay, because he is pretty open right now.
And you'll probably want to have Tuffy and them down there too.
Yeah, I'll be in here tomorrow in the morning, probably.
Well, I can call on them about 7:50. I think they're starting at 7 o'clock now.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go to Clearfield in the morning, so maybe you want to give her a call.
I just think the sooner we get this done, the better.
Oh, yeah, he wants to do it right
When
away.
kids start going down to that park, I'd just hate to see one of those little girls.
Well, get it done as soon as possible.
And we'll call Darren tonight.
We'll call him after the meeting.
Yeah,
And then can you get a hold of Tuffy in the morning, 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, you're up then?
I'm up at 5:30.
Okay, I know you, I just kidding you. Okay, intergovernmental, we have anything?
Yeah, I'm still working on some of these grants and also after this year, we'll get to next time around. But I told you that, Mark, that I was trying to see if there was some sort of possibility of building a bridge with the issues that we have ongoing. And I was handed this, and I thought this was interesting. It's not dated. It was on file. There's no date, there's no signature, but it's this agreement. I showed this to you before the meeting. It was supposedly put forth quite some time ago.
20 years.
I guess. I don't know, but that was something that I wasn't aware of. And it seems to me, and again, I just spoke with the secretary over there, I've made 2 overtures to try to sit down and talk with them and try to mediate and see what we can do to get over our differences and get, moving forward. And the secretary handed me that. And I was just wondering, I don't know if now's the time and place to get into
Well,
it.
no, we'll talk about this after here,
Okay.
okay?
Other than that, that's it.
Okay. Correspondence, we have a letter from Ettaro Productions concerning Underground Railroad. Copy of the letters in your notebook.
Do you want me to talk to Hildred Roll with the Curwensville type of store?
I think that would be good.
I don't know that there was any underground railroad in this particular area. I know in Grantham, there were, especially with the Society of Friends that played, but I'll check with Hildred on that.
And there's a letter from W.G. Satterley in your book. Someplace here.
It's acknowledging that
Yeah.
we have a storage facility.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any questions on that letter, or that's just more of an informative letter? Okay. Letter draft to propose addendum to renew guardian inspection service. Copies in the notebook.
It's already been signed.
We already done
Yeah,
that.
we did that last time.
Yeah, we did that.
Anyway,
Letter from Clearfield County Conservation Corps.
we already did that.
We did that too, didn't we? Okay. Now, there's been an advertisement in the paper several times for zoning and hearing board, and we've got no applicants. So Mr. Joe Wills and Mr. Robert McClure have expressed desire to serve on there. So I would suggest somebody make a motion, we appoint them, that way we will have it free.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. McNall,
And I'll second it.
and seconded by Mr. Sawby.
Motion.
Well,
David.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Now, we have to caution whoever's on there because a mistake was made up here at Tanner's Run. Just because people own ground against Tanner's Run, they can't get a variance.
Quick, actually. Just pass this stuff out. Well, Dave, you had suggested that I make a suggestion that we hold a specific meeting so we don't have to keep getting into this at regular council meetings. So I'm going to pass out a letter here, sort of summarizes some of where I'm coming from. And I passed around, there are options that we as a municipal entity, as an elected officials have to hold Sunnyside to the promises that they are putting forth. We can ask for things in writing. We can also, in regards to the air quality and monitoring, again, rather than relying on once a year air monitoring, we can suggest that they put real-time monitoring equipment. We can pass a local ordinance. This thing, we just found out, and I actually have known about this since September, but I never brought it up because I knew the argument immediately would be, well, this opens us up to potential lawsuits, and we don't have money for that because they're going to come in and they're going to challenge our right to do that. And I got a phone call last week that it seems that 2 lawsuits actually went to federal court here in Pennsylvania, and they came, the judgment just came down in the past couple months on the sides of the municipalities to have the right, that they do indeed have the right under state and federal law to enact such an ordinance. So we could theoretically say to Sunnyside, if we're really concerned about this, we could say, hey, you want to do business in Curwensville? Here's the standards by which that we're going to ask you to do so. And I think at the very least, as elected officials here, we should at least consider this. So what I've done is I've given everybody a copy of it, take a look at it, and we can come back and hopefully throw a motion down and see if it flies or not at the next meeting. The other thing that I would ask would be that we would we would go ahead and after the next meeting, go ahead and see if we can set a date. Because while Sunnyside has held their meetings, DEP has held their meetings, from what I understand, the borough has never held an actual meeting on behalf of the citizens of this town. And I do believe that that's in order, and I think that that meeting needs to be much more balanced. DEP, Sunnyside, the proponents of the plant, of course, they should be part of it, as well as the cons, the folks that are saying no, and everyone and anyone in between as well. So I'd like to suggest that we get moving on doing that as well. So I'll pass this letter about. Actually, did you get one else? There you go. And I guess that we have the ordinance.
I really don't think we're gonna have too many problems because they already offered to pay for the testing of our roads. That we have to have tested to be bonded, which is pretty expensive for the borough. They would do that and pay for putting up the sign, so.
Okay.
So
Do you
far.
have an extra set of those?
Of what I wrote?
Whatever you passed out.
Yeah, well, I think that what we're suggesting and what some of the more concerned citizens are suggesting, Mark, and I really, you know, for myself, I saw it in with commissioners recently backpedaling and going whoops and having to ask the governor, gee, can you intercede here because we didn't get the local jobs that we thought we were promised, you know? I mean, that was so obvious, and this is, you know, this isn't fear-mongering, this is heavy industry, and we do have reasons to be concerned, and if we have mechanisms at our disposal to hold these folks accountable and get things in writing, then we should do so. It's our responsibility. We don't work for Sunnyside, we work for the people that are going to be breathing the air here.
Well, the one thing you gotta remember, when they promised 55 jobs, they didn't promise that they would be locally. You have, the person has to be qualified.
I understand.
To get it. So there could be jobs locally, there might not be any jobs locally. It said there'd be 55 jobs is what it said. So.
I know, and there's a lot of what ifs, and there's certain things, of course, we can't put in writing. We can't make them say, we will hire locally, but we could say, well, gee, what are these jobs? Give us a list of the people. I've asked them. They sat here last meeting and they said that they were open to questions. I've contacted Mr. DeCesar over and over and over and over. I've responded to their letter to the editor very nicely. I wasn't rude. I just simply asked for basic questions, one of which was, can you give me a listing of the people that are going to be working at the plant, what their basic job descriptions are going to be? No response, no response, no response. That is a very, very basic and valid question.
Let's see what our engineer finds out. He has the plans, he's gonna be looking at them for 5 days. And he'll be talking to them, see what he comes up with, and then we'll go from there.
I believe Aaron's also gonna ask the question about real-time monitoring. If that is the responsibility of a job at Sunnyside, where a certain individual will be handling those numbers, because underscore, if it's anything like a landfill or a gas treatment plant or an electric to gas or vice versa, you do have certain technicians that are entrusted to that. And they answer to DEP, EPA, and their boss.
They've already agreed to, where they're going to put the main track and the runaround tracks for switching the coal, corn, netball up there, to put an access road in.
That's for fire.
So they're gonna take that.
That's for any emergency.
So the firemen can get in. So.
Yeah, I understand all that. I mean, I completely understand that there's a lot of things that have been covered, a lot that haven't been covered, but I think we're coming down to it now, and I do believe that we as the elected officials should say to the people of Curwensville that we want to lay it all out right now, and we want to make sure that we get the best deal possible if the thing's going to happen. It's as simple as that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't think so either. And please give consideration to this air ordinance. It won in federal court. The precedent has been set. Basically, from what I understand, was that the corporations were using some sort of argument that a municipality can't discriminate against a corporation because somehow or another under the Constitution, you'll love this, corporations have same rights as individuals or something like that. That was the argument that they used. Something similar to that. And they lost, and they upheld the state and federal laws that allow local municipalities to set tougher standards. And right now, I confirmed this with DEP in a 3.5-hour conversation. There is no real-time monitoring of these things. It's once a year monitoring, and they're relying on Sunnyside to jump through the protocol. As another thing too, I brought this up, and I want you to consider this, that the gentleman who's now the vice president of Sunnyside, it was at the time, back in 2006, working for Malcolm Pierney, who was supposed to be the independent consulting firm. The assessment, the last assessment that the state has seen regarding the cleanup of that site, it goes back to 2005 when Rick DeCesar was working for Malcolm Pierney. Now he's representing Sunnyside. I think we need an independent consulting firm to take a look and see what is in that. If there's hot spots of chromium in there, the people in this town need to know before we start chromium. Well, oh no, the thing is, all they can do is go back and look at the last assessment, which was done by Malcolm Pierney. You see what I'm saying?
I believe my company is involved in that thing with the chromium right now. I don't want to go any further with that, but I will get the information.
Yeah, I'd like to know
And
that.
I am, and it is X on 6, and I already spoke with my boss, but that is something that has a lot to do with Superfund money, and I don't want to commit anything to that.
Well, let's see what happens, because we could go back and forth here all night.
Of course, but those are just some of the things that I want you to consider that I think we need to get out into the public and discuss.
Nothing else come before
I move we adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. McCall, we adjourn, seconded by Mr. Yeah, I know who you are. I want to make sure who was what. Everybody in favor? Anybody
You
opposed?
might want an extra one of those, Dave.
Thanks for remembering number 16 on there, because I had
Oh, the public comment.
That's all right, I'll come back next month.
Oh, dear.
You have them papers that the lady left.
Yes.
I'm moving this here. I'll be-
We don't, I don't recall, are we taking? Oh, you're going there.
We want to make sure that Aaron gets a copy.
Here's,
Those ladies.
Yeah, there you go.
here's this. I don't have a copy
Hey, John.
letter from her, but I do have this. Here you go.
Eads.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just their name, Eads Engineering. Yeah, I believe it's, if it's an individual, I don't even know what that, I actually don't know what it stands for. I think it might be.
Did the other lady have papers too?
You see that letter?
Oh, there it is. Engineering, architecture.